You are an undercover secret agent. You have been dispatched for a very important mission. There's a party going on in a big, luxurious restaurant, and you have to execute an important operation. You enter the place and you look at the meals, the bling, the festivity, the aroma, the extravaganza, the entire environment has a certain charm. Now, what do? You start feasting, jogging, partying, or do you remember your mission? That's the question for today's talk. Where does my identity come from? My surroundings, my circumstances, or from my consciousness? Is my identity a thing of coincidences, or is it a thing of my consciousness? The word identity comes from Latin idem, which means sameness. When you cannot differentiate a thing from the other, then it is called identical. When it comes to a person, what is it that you can no more be differentiated from? This question decides the quality of one's life, one's destiny, and in fact, the state of entire mankind. There's you, there's your surroundings, and then there is the remembrance within of something else. Do you allow your surroundings to decide, dictate who you are? Well, most of us do that. We hardly have any innate sense of our existence. If we are in a party, our consciousness gets totally dominated by the party. The surroundings just effortlessly encroach upon us and possess us without facing any resistance from our inner self, as if there is no real authentic inner self to resist at all. You would probably ask, what is the need to resist? This need to resist itself is called consciousness. This need to resist is what defines us as human beings. Otherwise, what is the difference between a piece of bread and a person? You can pick up a loaf of bread and keep it anywhere. You can give it any shape. It won't resist. So, A human being obviously has to be different from a loaf of bread. And if we are not different, then there is suffering, is there not? When you are treated in contempt of your volition, do you like it? That's consciousness. We have something within that wants to be honored in spite of the circumstances. We have something within that doesn't want to yield to the circumstances. That metal, that steel within, you could relate it to free will, is consciousness. So, you have talked of astitva, my identity, though astitva does not really mean identity, but still, it is extremely important to declutter one's identity. For that, you'll have to firstly observe that what you take yourself to be is so much a function of just accidental happenings you never chose. You didn't choose the family you'd be born in. You didn't choose your religion in most cases. You don't even choose your mother tongue, what you call as a staple food. And then these things not only seep into yourself, they become yourself. What is yourself, your identity, that which you call as I, except for what you have gathered from the surroundings? And if there is very little within us that has not come from the surroundings circumstantially, coincidentally, then is it a joyful and satisfactory state to be in? Do we want to be at the mercy of the random world around us? Worse still, do we want to energize that within us which is fundamentally alien to us? Because once you start taking something as your identity, you start giving it all your energy. You start saying, I am this, I am that, I like this, I don't like that. My loyalty belongs to this, and if I'm loyal to this, then I have to be hostile to that. So we start energizing that which was never ours in the first place. It came to us in a moment through a process that had no deliberation at all. But we do not realize that. We were infiltrated. And that infiltration happened in a moment of sleep, inner sleep. We did not know that our inner territory was being colonized. Somebody came, something came, and just took possession. Which is all right, because obviously, as human beings, we are not perfect. We are vulnerable to these influences. But it is not quite all right if we start siding with the colonizer, if we start venerating the enemy, if we start identifying with the world. In Vedanta, it is classically represented as the corrupting influence of Prakriti upon Purush. What you have all around you is just too eager to become your identity. Your identity, your life, your destiny, your very breath. Would you agree to that? That's the most important question of your life. You see, you look at your bodily apparatus. Your eyes are all the time soaking in visuals. Your ears have no way to resist the random sounds that come to you. Whereas most of us do not know any way to control the thoughts that get excited in our mind. You see, if you do not like a place, probably you can close your eyes. If you do not want to listen to something, you may use earbuds or just walk away. But what do you do with your mind? If your mind has been seeded with thoughts from surroundings, irrespective of where you go, you carry the seeds within. And the mind is full of thoughts. Doesn't sound too good, right? Our thoughts might not really be our own. Then how is our life our own? Hell, are we alive at all? Or are we just functioning like programmed machines? Machines that have not been programmed in one instance, in one go, but are continuously being programmed every moment. We are absorbing data. The data that we absorb a moment interacts with the pre-existing patterns and orders within and gets co-opted. So things keep changing within. But those changes are hardly willful or deliberate or conscious. Much of the difficulties that we face today as human beings and as mankind, they come from this lack of conscious identity. If only we could see that it is not necessary to succumb to the surroundings, we would not be in the mess we are in. It is not necessary to belong to the times. It is not necessary to be carried away by the waves. It is possible. It is not only possible, it is important. It is not merely important, it is imperative to have something within that remains unconditionally untouched. Obviously, we all live in contexts and we must respond to things and situations around us as they take place. That is one thing. It is another thing to become your surroundings. Please do get the difference. And how would you even respond to your surroundings if you do not have any free entity within with a free choice to respond? Then that which you are coming up with is not really a free response. It is merely a predetermined, automated material reaction. So, this is a question, I suppose, every young person, every person who's not so young, just everybody should be asking. Where are my thoughts coming from? Where are my decisions coming from? Where is the entire flow of my life coming from? These are the things around identity, right? I could have as well said, where is my self coming from? Where is my identity coming from? What am I identical to? What have I become undifferentiated from? If you can ask this question, it will take you a long way. If you do not ask this question, it's still alright. You belong to the teeming masses, and there is security in that and belongingness. And one often feels happy with that much. A lot of people are satisfied with that much. I implore you to not to be satisfied with just that much. Life can offer much, much more than the peanuts that old script rewards us with. Keep the script aside. Write your own story. Write a conscious story. You need that, and the world needs that today. We are in a mess. We require people who can think on their own. We require people whose thoughts are not coming from old or recent ideologies. We require people who have innocent minds and can look at the world without prejudice, without filters, and ask really simple questions. Else, you know of climate change, you know of biodiversity depletion, you know that we are 8 billion of us already, you know that population is still going to grow for another few decades, and you know that we cannot afford that at all.